This kick can decide it all. The nation holds its breath. Yes,
Welcome back to the podcast. Today we're talking about a 22-year-old 6'6" giant defender born on the 15th of May 2001 in Youghal in Cork, called Jake O'Brien. He's played lots of sports in his youth. For example, boxing, hurling. I'm presuming he played GAA football as well, and then football. Also, the sport in his family. His younger brother Charlie is also a footballer, and he's playing with Cove Ramblers, and he's only 17 himself, so watch this space on him. Jake started his sporting journey in Youghal with Youghal United, and then Cork City in their underage teams, before stepping up to their senior team 2019 as an 18-year-old, and he made 9 appearances before he moved off again. Then in February 21, as a 19-year-old, he moved on loan firstly to Crystal Palace into their academy, where he impressed, and it was soon after he was offered a permanent deal in August 21. Probably would have happened earlier, but COVID was going on then, so things were at a bit of a slower pace then. So he signed permanently with Crystal Palace as 20-year-old. He continued to impress, and in January 22, he went on loan to Swindon Town for vital first-team experience, which would undoubtedly get him closer to the Crystal Palace first-team squad, who were managed at that stage by Patrick Vieira. Swindon were in League 2, which is the 4th division in England, in the English Pyramid, and he turned out for Swindon an impressive 19 times in the 5 months he was there. He became an integral part of their team. So yeah, definitely a first foray into first team football, very successful first foray into first team football in England. He obviously had first team football for Cork, so yeah, it was a good loan, and doesn't always work out that well for players. Yeah, it doesn't mean it's not going to work out for them in their career, but sometimes the first loan or two they don't get much game time for the various reasons. But his first loan experience in England definitely worked out. In August 22, the now 21-year-old went on a season-long loan to Belgium with RWD Molenbeek, who were in the 2nd division in Belgium, and they are owned. Some of their ownership is John Texter, who also has ownership in Crystal Palace. Would again prove a very successful loan spell for the player and both clubs. Jake went on to play a total of 30 times, again being an integral part of the defence for Molenbeek. He's also scored 3 goals, which is always impressive when a defender can get a few goals as well. And he helped Molenbeek win the championship, so basically the 2nd division in Belgium, which is harder to do because they have a split kind of season where they go into a championship stage. But anyway, he got them promoted. They won it, and they got promoted to the top tier of Belgium for the first time in the club's history. So whatever happens, he's going to go down a legend there as well. And he's only a young man. In light of all this progress, this summer was always going to be a vital point in his career. He clearly wasn't going to go back to Crystal Palace, back into their academy, and he wasn't. Well, I mean, he's beyond that now in experience and age, but he wasn't going to go back in just to be a first team. He didn't want to probably go back as just a first team squad member, so he wanted, to be in the first team. And why wouldn't he? Crystal Palace did offer him a new deal, so obviously they're highly impressed with him. But he had the taste for the first team football now, and Swindon and in Molenbeek, he was one of the first names on the team sheet. So he wanted a bit more certainty around Crystal Palace. And he wouldn't be going back onto the bench or into the first team squad, not making appearances or fighting for your play. Not fighting wouldn't have been a problem, but getting that game time, he obviously was thinking twice about it. Crystal Palace now managed by Roy Hodgson, so he's worked under some very big managers so far, big personalities, names, stars. But Palace knew they had a gem, but it was now a case of play me or let me go. So in fairness to Palace, they didn't try and put obstacles in his way, which they could have, because he only had a year. He had a year left, only a year, but he also did have a year left. So they could have let him sit there for a year or whatever, which would have diminished his star. So his current deal with Palace was running out next year, summer 24. So they wanted him to stay, understood his points, as it would seem, as well, and ultimately let him go, albeit for a decent transfer fee and to a team again with ownership by Texter. So there was offers in for him. Probably the most high profile one, other than the one he took. Out of all the offers, it would appear the one he's taken now is the best one out of the lot. But the Man City group came in for him. Crystal Palace didn't sell to them. It was a higher offer than what the transfer fee that was offered by the Man City group. Then they actually accepted from Lyon. He's gone to Lyon. But there was other interest as well from England, the Championship, France, as I said, Man City group wanted to buy him. The City group, what they're called actually, but it's the Man City lads. But they wanted to put him into one of their other teams in France. Funny enough, Troyes in France, which were recently relegated. Well, just relegated at the end of the season to the second division in France. So, he's turned out now to move to part of the Crystal Palace group ownership with Lyon, which arguably is a step up anyway. Also had interest apparently from Germany and Netherlands. So unsurprisingly, he moved to French giants Olympique Lyonnais, and on the 15th of August, just gone, so 6 days ago. And they're managed again by another superstar, Laurent Blanc, for a 7-figure transfer, reportedly £1 million, on a 4-year deal until the end of the summer 27. So he could have gone elsewhere, but Lyon are also under the ownership, as said, of Texter. So in theory, if you can get regular first team football, play week in, week out, there could be a buyback clause. It wouldn't be a hard deal to do, to go back to the Premiership. I'm sure, I know he said before that's where he wants to play, but the French top division, Lyon, no offence to Crystal Palace, in stature, they'd be closer to getting into Europe, into the Champions League and all than Crystal Palace will be, even though Crystal Palace are Premiership and Lyon Premiership as a league is higher than, again, arguably, than the French top division. But Lyon, in my opinion, what do I know, but Lyon are a higher stature club than Crystal Palace at this moment in time. So it's a great move for him on all fronts. It's also good move for John Texter, who has the ownership in multiple clubs. So really worldwide, another kind of model that's becoming popular now, that where there's a group that owns various clubs all around the world. So it's definitely a great move for him. If it works out for him at Lyon, he's at a top world club, and if he slightly falls short now, he could go on loan somewhere. He's probably on way better money now than he was. Not that money would be this guy's motivation. This guy's motivation appears to be. Now, no disrespect to anybody, but he reminds me a bit of Roy Keane. His professionalism seems to be through the roof, and even heard an interview with him talking about a few years ago. He was talking about playing Italy and Sweden, and the interviewer was saying, yeah, 4 points is great, and he was like, no, 6 points, 6 points. Yeah, 4 points is good. Yeah, 6 points. We're going in to get 6 points. So, and he's right. Why should you be aiming slightly, settling? You aim for the top, and that was always Roy Keane. Again, I know some people love Roy Keane, some people hate him, but you can't say he wasn't, the highest standards, and you should expect those, Anyway, I'd imagine financially, Palace in the Premiership would have been a better move but again, he was already there, but if he could renegotiate his contract, slightly better than Lyon, but Lyon, has said, better stature club, again, in my opinion, although they're not as high as they were maybe a couple of years ago, but they're still a top world team. So yeah, it's going to be good on the CV no matter what, and it's a great move for him, all the clubs involved, and the country as well. So internationally, he's not turned out yet for the Irish senior team, but you'd imagine this isn't far off at this stage. Also, he has played at the highest youth level, the under-21s, and as everyone knows, a lot of the senior team now is made up of players that he would have played with in the under-21s. So he's been in and around those players. He just needs to nail down first team football now with a top side, and hopefully that top side will be Lyon. Laurent Blanc, as far as I know, said he's going to have a decent look at him and then decide whether to loan him out or keep him in the squad. I'd imagine when he has a good look at him, this guy's professionalism through the roof, it's going to be, let's keep this guy. This guy is a top player. But anyway, there is no rush. He's only 22, but he himself will see it as a real target to nail his first team spot with Lyon. And why shouldn't he? As everything he's done so far has proved. So he's at that level, and yeah, it is a step up, but you always got to step up, at some stage, in no matter what you do. So it's not an unbelievably massive step up. It's a realistic level up, One point to mention as well is everywhere he's been, he has left on good terms. So not only that, but he's also been highly thought of, which again is a great testament to his character and what others see in him. So yeah, that's very, very positive point to make. Like Cork, they're going to do very well out of this move to Lyon. They're going to get reportedly 15% sell-on fee from Crystal Palace, so that works out about 150 grand, which is always needed in the League of Ireland. Swindon, they obviously thought highly of him because they played him week in, week out pretty much from the start. Molenbeek, he helped them get into the top division in Belgium for the first time in their history. Crystal Palace didn't want to sell him to somebody else. They wanted to really kind of keep him in the family. So again, and they didn't make it difficult for him. So there was a, mutual satisfactory agreement between all parties. So again, they highly think of him, that they want to keep him in the family, really. And at Lyon, you'd imagine it won't be, again, easy to break into the first team, but it's what he does, so I highly expect it to happen. He also has the experience, physical attributes, and time on his side, though you'd imagine it'll come sooner rather than later. He's played youth international football, soon to be senior international football, has played first team football in 3 different countries so far, Ireland, England, Belgium, now France. So 4 countries. He's excelled everywhere he's been. He's always stepped up levels. He's been at a Premiership side. He's been under the stewardess, under the charge of Patrick Vieira, Roy Hodgson, now Laurent Blanc, and probably lots of high level coaches to boot. So yeah, he's had interest from other top teams that aren't part of the Crystal Palace group. So like, he's obviously highly thought of in many quarters, which is all again a good sign for him that he is the real deal. Again, it's a step up, yes, but it's just a natural step up. Come with the hour, come with the man, as they say, and he is the man at the moment. Great move, which took balls basically to take that. He could have taken the easy step and stayed put at Crystal Palace. Maybe definitely got a new deal, higher wages than he was on, and with the hope of breaking into the first team, which again could have happened. So the fact he's thought, listen, I need to do what's right for me, but listen, I don't want to step on anyone's toes either, but he's decided to go elsewhere. That's a risk, bravery, you name it. Now obviously he would have been getting lots of interest in him, so he would have had the bargaining chips on his side. So so basically looking forward to seeing how the season turns out for him. He didn't turn out for the first match with Lyon. He only arrived a few days earlier, and the international clearance was yet to be finalised for that match, it would appear. Expect to see him on the bench for the next game against Nice, at least. Well, yeah, probably that's a good... If he's on the bench, that's a good sign, and whether or not he comes on. But over the coming weeks, months, I expect to see him getting in the first team, getting appearances. Will it happen slowly or will it happen quickly? Who knows, but I do expect it to happen. And whatever happens, we'll be watching.